So maybe let's move on to our last topic of the day, which is in terms of internationalization or expansion strategies as a Singapore company. So Singapore is always seen as a hub for regional expansion in Asia, or there are people who always call us as the gateway to ASEAN per se. So maybe on the government or ACE's end, what are some of the advice that Marian, you will give to startups and SMEs who are considering to expand overseas to expand the business?
Okay, so on ACE side, ACE, we are not a government agency, we're actually a private organization supported by the government. So we just opened our international center in September last year. Yeah, so with this new international center, our mandate is really to help both local startups to expand overseas, as well as international startups looking to come to Singapore. Yeah, so when we look at this, right, I mean, there's a lot of efforts about from the government and all that to actually foster more internationalization as well as global partnerships. Yeah, so what our international center is actually set up to do is actually we have a range of services, whether it's in terms of helping startups to incorporate, so that's where we actually partner with InCorp as well. We also have a series of business advisory clinics, workshops, and we also run this market access program, which basically helps startups to understand more about the countries that they wish to expand into before they really embark on this journey. Yeah, so when they come to us, we actually bring through them through a series of workshops, clinics. We also introduce them to our different networks of partners that is actually relevant to their business. Yeah, so we do a lot of one-on-one customization depending on the company as well to actually prepare them for their internationalization journey. Yeah. So I mean, in this aspect, these are some of the things we do at ACE to actually help companies in terms of wanting to expand abroad. Yeah, so just feel free to approach us if you want to find out more.
So in terms of the government's end or IE or international enterprise, who's going to be Enterprise Singapore soon, so there are also some schemes, Paul and Marian, in terms of helping Singapore companies or Singapore headquartered companies to go out of Singapore and defray some of the expenses. So maybe Paul, you want to start off with what are some of the schemes for that IE or TOBES that's going to administer to help Singapore companies expand out?
As mentioned by Marianne, actually, IE Singapore and Spring Singapore, they're going to merge and it's going to be called ESG, Enterprise Singapore. And they're going to streamline a few of the grants, which also I think Marianne have mentioned just now. I just want to say a few of the low-lying fruits, especially in terms of internationalization. If you are ever intending to take part in, say, an overseas trade fair, don't do so until you get some grants from IE Singapore now, and it's going to be ESG, for example. And let's say the taking part or participation in an overseas trade fair is going to be, just use a rounded and simple figure, $10,000. You can get as much as 70%, $7,000 being funded by IE Singapore. And the other 3,000, which will be out of pocket, please know that will be, you will get double deduction for that $3,000 as well. It's not just deductible, but you get 2 times of it as deductible. So these are all very low-lying fruit. MRA, Marketing Readiness Assessment, that's another very simple low-lying fruit you're going to get. You want to see whether your product or service might be suitable for a foreign market. You get a consultant, whether it's a local consultant or somebody, to do a bit of a research and report, and then you pay that particular consultant. Again, we are talking about very small figures, $10,000 for example. The same rule applies. You can go to IE Singapore, you get 70% grant, and then the $3,000 again will be available for double deduction. Something like that.
So Marian, you were talking about the EDG or the Enterprise Development Grant earlier on, and I think it's a merger of the GCP scheme into this grant as well. So maybe you want to go more in depth and share with our participants here today, how can they use this grant to explore going out or setting up or incorporating overseas?
Yeah, so the EDG grant, this will actually help companies in terms of internationalization efforts. Yeah, so I think This actually covers up to 70% support as well. So there's also some similarities in terms of the MRA grant and this EDG grant. Yeah, so I think for more details about this EDG grant, we have to wait for EDG for further announcements. I think they will only do it, I think, sometime second quarter of this year. Yeah.
Thank you very much.